We are on Kuf Yud Ches Amid Beis. Yeah, by the first two dots, about 8 lines down. We brought a brisa. We said that the Meraglim, that means the spies that went and testified falsely to Bnei Yisrael and got everyone worked up. Yeshua and Kalev not luchaltam. Yeshua and Kalev were two of the spies that was sent, but they came back and gave a positive report. So they got the Yerusha that was supposed to go to those Meraglim. Where does this come from? Sounds like it's saying that they lived from those people. My chayu, what does it mean that they lived? Meaning from the rest of the spies. Means to say that they survived and no one else did. That means that they were the only ones who didn't die in the Dar HaMidbar from the Yetzer Mitzrayim. We already have a different pasuk that says that. There was no one left over from the entire Dar of Yetzer Mitzrayim except for Kaleb ben Yefuna and Yeshua ben Nun. And the my chayu shechayu bechalkam. It means to say chayu is that they lived where in the chalakim of these other meraglim they took over what was supposed to be the chelak, the Yerusha of the meraglim, of the other spies. The Brisa also said the Mislainin, which are the complainers, and the Adas Korach did not get a chelik in the Aretz. We said the Meraglim was given over to Yeshua and Kalev, but the complainers and the Adas Korach didn't get a chelik in the first place. No one got it. Just got absorbed into the larger distribution. In fact, the more about Tanya Meraglim, Mislainin Adas Korach, Yeshua v'Kalev not luchalkam. There's a different brisa that says that Yeshua and Korach took the chelik not only of the Meraglim, but also the Mislainim. Adas Korach is the congregation of Korach, means his family. I guess they're also included in the Mislainim. So it's a stira. The brisa that we brought earlier said that the Mislainim's chalakim were just not given to them at all. And here it sounds like that it went to Yeshua and Korach, Yeshua and Kalev. So come on, loy kasha. Mar makash mislainim meraglim, mar le makash mislainim meraglim. It's a machlekes in the two brises. One says the mislainim are compared to the meraglim, and the other one says the mislainim are not compared to the meraglim. We're in the middle of Kuf Yud Ches Amid Beis. We're talking about a stira that we had brought a brisa before that said that the meraglim had their chalakim in Eretz Yisrael given over to Kalev and Yeshua, and the mislainim, the complainers, they didn't get anything at all. But we just brought a brisa that says that both the meraglim and the mislainim, their chalakim were given to Yeshua and Kalev. So we want to answer lekasha mar makish mislainim meraglim, mar le makish mislainim lemeraglim. One, excuse me, one brisa compares the mislainim to meraglim, and they got the same treatment that was given to Yeshua, and the other one doesn't. Tanya, Avinu meis bamidbar, zet slavchad. This is when Bnei Slavchad were making their appeal to Moshe Rabbeinu and saying they should get a chelik baretz. So the first thing they said was, don't think that we're from one of these groups that deserves to lose their chelik. Because they say, Avinu meis, our father died by Midbar. That's Slavcha. This was Slavcha, their father. And he was not part of the congregation, meaning Ze'edis Meraglim. He wasn't part of the Meraglim. Ha'noyadim al Hashem, that were complaining to Hashem, Elu Mislainim, that's the complainers. Ba'adas Korach Kamashmaini. They say he wasn't part of the Adas Korach. It could be the Pashtup Shad. He wasn't from the family of Korach. So Mar Makim Mislainim Meraglim. One Madama says, since it says Hanoyadim al Hashem, and it says first Lahib Decha Eda, which is the Edis Meraglim, and then it says Hanoyadim al Hashem, So he says that it's a comparison. They're both treated the same way. And our original brisa didn't have them as being compared, and therefore the mislainim, the complainers, were not lumped into them together with Raglam, and it was just not given to anyone. According to the one who puts together the mislainim, the complainers, together with the Raglam, and said it all went to Yeshua and Kalev. And now at this point, the Gemara is assuming mislainim means complainers. If you listen at all, to the Kriyas HaTorah from when we got to Parshas Shemais for the next, 3-4 months, basically every parsha was some complaining. Different parts of Klal Yisrael were always complaining. They complained about the Slav, they complained about the Mun, they complained about there's a better, but we would have stayed in Mitzrayim where we had plenty of fish. Everyone complained. So Ichbul Yeshua Kala v'Yarsu l'Kula Eretz Yisrael. If everyone who complained, their portions went to Kalev and Yeshua, that means the whole Eretz Yisrael basically went to Kalev and Yeshua, and there was no one else besides that. So Gemara, no. We don't mean anyone who ever complained. We mean just the ones who complained that they joined together with the Adas Karach. According to the Man Amar, that it was simple that the Yerushas Eretz Yisrael, the Chelik of Eretz Yisrael, went to when they came into Eretz Yisrael and they conquered Eretz Yisrael, they looked back in the records and they saw who was ever came out of Eretz Mitzrayim. They were the ones entitled to the Yerusha, and then it went filtered down to whoever their Yarshim were, because none of the Yetzim Mitzrayim were alive at that point. So in the Schalkaret, that it says that the Chevle Menashe, the Chevle is a lashon of a rope, meaning the way they counted the Chalakim. So in Menashe, in Sheva Menashe, it went to 10 different portions. The Shisa Bate Yavis. The pasuk says that there were 6 heads of sons of Menashe that represented the 6 major houses of the mishpachas in the Menashe. The Arba did too, and the 4 that went to Bnei Slavcha. And it's important to mention over here because this is something that I never really clarified to myself when we started this. That we talk about getting chalakim, we talk about getting portions. It's not equal portions. When we describe portions, it can mean a smaller portion, a bigger portion. Like when we talk, as we'll see, like we talked about that the Bnei Slavcha got 2 portions as from the Bechar, from their father's Bechar, but they also got a portion from their grandfather. The grandfather's portion was clearly much bigger than the portion that he gave over through their father because he was the Bechar, which was only a portion, the double portion from. In any case, the portions are not all the same size. But in any case, and also the Gemara is going to ask later on that we're talking about 2 different kinds of portions. The portions of the mishpachas, of the 6 mishpachas, are the 6 children of Menashe. And then you have the Bnei Slavchat's 4 portions that they got. Their father was Slavchat, who was the son of Chayri, who I don't know if he was one of the Russian mishpachas or not, but those portions were much smaller portions. But in any case, the Gemara is going to ask later on why are we mixing together different types of portions. So that if you say it's Yotzim Mitzrayim, so we understand it's Asar. It's talking about the 6 of the Rashi Avis of Menashe and the 4 that they got that the Bnei Slavchat got. Now the Gemara is going to ask also later on that we said the Bnei Slavchat got 3. We didn't say that they got 4. Where does the 4th come from? El Lamanda Amar Labaya Aretz. But according to Mount Amar, it wasn't for the Yotzim Mitzrayim. It was just from those who came into Eretz Yisrael. Tamru Dahavish should only be 8. The Shisa Bate Yavis, the 6 of the Bate Yavis, who traded who? The only ones that the Bnei Slavchat should have gotten was the 2 that they would get. Right? It was the Nichnasim La'aretz. Now, the way it would work is that neither Slavchat nor his father Chayri were Nichnas La'aretz, but the brothers of Tzlofchad, where he went into the land. So there it's going to go back to their father, to Chayri, and then Chayri is going to give it back, and they're going to get a double portion out a Bechar. But they wouldn't get anything else. They wouldn't get the direct portion from Tzlofchad or from Chayri. So it should only be 8. So well, you're asking this as a kasha, according to the Manam, who says that the chalukah was done l'yotzi Mitzrayim. If it's going l'yotzi Aretz, it doesn't work. But how does it work even if you say it's l'yotzi Mitzrayim? Well, the Manam l'yotzi Mitzrayim, it's halak Aretz teshava. It should only be 9. We had the 6 of the 6 mishpachas, and then they were entitled also to 1 portion out that their father was Tzlofchad. So, right, because we had said earlier, they get their Tzlofchad's portion, and also the Chelek, a double Chelek, because the Tzlofchad was the Bechor of Chefer, so they got a double portion of that. So those are the 2 Yotzei Mitzrayim that they're entitled to. So they get a double portion from Tzlofchad because Tzlofchad was the Bechor in Chefer, and they got the single portion that was given to Tzlofchad himself. So when you get to 10, you should only get to 9. What do you have to say? There must have been one brother of Tzlofchad who didn't have any children, and he also was from the Yotzei Mitzrayim. And since he didn't have children to give it to, instead it went to his nieces, to the Bnei Tzlofchad. And that's where you get the 10th portion. So once you're saying that, why can we say maybe say it goes according to the Bnei, it goes to the Baya Aretz, so we said it should only be 2. You could, instead of adding on 1, let's add on 2 for the uncle. That there was 2 uncles that didn't have children, and that ultimately their Yerusha would go to the Bnei Tzlofchad. And where do we see that there's such a thing that it could be 1 or 2 uncles without children that they gave a Yerusha? The Tanya, this is when Moshe was finally responding to the Bnei Tzlofchad and saying, I went and checked the halacha, and you're right, and you are entitled to get. So he said, Moshe Rabbeinu said, Nosan titan lem, you should give to them zu nachlas avin. So the Torah says nosan titan, and that's talking about the nachla from their father. B'toich achi avin zu nachlas avi avin. That's the nachla from Chayri, from Tzlofchad's father. V'avarta es nachlas avin lehen. Then a third lashon zu chelik b'chayra. That's the chelik b'chayra that they also get. So that's how you get to the. So that's 1 extra. Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, and Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov adds on to that af chelik achi avin natlu, and he says it was 1 additional portion. Shenemer nasun titen. That's how you get to the 4th, which makes it 10. Ulamanda Amar Trey Achida Abahav. And according to the Manda Amar that we just said that it's going by your Aretz, so you only have 2 to start with. So you need 2 extra ones from the uncles. Ahu me'achuzas nachla nafka. For the fact that it says achuzas nachla, you could have just said nachla. It says achuzas nachla. So that tells you an additional uncle. For amalei rapapala abai. Krav Micah Choshev. What is the what are we adding up over here? Eat Felim Kachoshev. He's asking the question that we had asked before, that we're mixing up different types of nachlas. We're saying, first of all, that there's 6, we said there were 10 chalakim in Menashe. Then we said there were the 6 of the mishpachas, and then there were 4 that went to the Bnei Tzlofchad. And there were many other people that got chalakim in Eretz Yisrael besides the Bnei Tzlofchad. It sounds like when we said the mishpachas, we're saying there were 6 mishpachas that it was divided amongst, and then we say also 4 chalakim went to. It doesn't make any sense. So the Gemara asks, "My kachashiv, eat feil kachashiv, including everyone who's getting a chelik as a descendant from the Yotzei Aretz or from the Yotzei Mitzrayim when it was chayzer from the Yotzei Aretz. Tuvah, there was many more. Ibate avos kachashiv." If you're only counting the mishpachas, you should only say 6. Why are you saying 10? You're mixing up apples and oranges. So we're really counting the Batei Avis just the Mishpachas. We wanted to add in the Bnei Slavcha just to tell you this halacha that they still get the chelik b'chayra, because they inherited that since their father wasn't alive. They took his b'chayras. And what is it? What is the chiddush of that? Alma Eretz Yisrael mechzekasi. As we've seen it earlier in the Gemara. We've seen it a number of times. We have the question of whether you can be kind of b'chayr from a roy, or a b'chayr can only get his b'chayras b'muchzak, not b'roy. That means if someone is a b'chayr and his father has a debt that's owed to him, that's just a roy. That's something, a potential claim. He doesn't get double of that. He only gets double from the actual assets of his father. So the Gemara is saying one might have thought that the chalakim that were distributed to when they conquered Eretz Yisrael, and let's say someone like Slavcha, where he was dead, he was no longer alive, and he was getting a chelek from his father, who was also no longer alive. So, and that was something that was owed to his father. His father didn't own his chelek in Eretz Yisrael. It was just, he had a potential right to get a Yerusha. So one might say that's roy, and there should be no din of b'chayra. There should be no double Yerusha for the people who are actually receiving the chalakim in Eretz Yisrael. So that's why we added in that they get 4 to tell you that they got roy, that it's not considered roy. The chalakim that people were entitled to Eretz Yisrael were not like other Yerushas, and it was considered muchzak, was considered something that the bequeather already had in his possession. Amar Ma, v'abonim notlu b'schus avi avi. We said that the meraglim and the adas kairach, and not bothering me. I enjoy the background. All of these people, the meraglim and adas kairach and the mislayim, all didn't get a chelik in Eretz Yisrael. It says, "V'habonim notlu b'schus avi avi." The children of these Rishayim, they got b'schus their grandfathers. They couldn't get from their fathers because they lost their chelik. But they weren't left with nothing. They got from their grandfathers. And b'schus avi imosayim, and they also got from their mothers. If their mothers didn't have any other, if they didn't have any. The fathers of those mothers didn't have any brothers. The mothers didn't have brothers. We have a different brayso that says that they didn't get from their grandparents; they got from their own schus. The children of these people who didn't get a Yerusha. The one who says that they got from their grandfather says that it went according to the Yetzer Mitzrayim. So then they couldn't get from this chus atzman, and they could only get from their fathers, but their fathers didn't get a chelik because they were meraglim or misleidim, so they got from their grandfathers. And it's telling you that even though their parents weren't zeicha, it flowed through their parents to them. And hakamandam l'boyaretz, but the other mandam who says they got from this chus atzman, talking about where they themselves went to Eretz Yisrael, so therefore they were able to get a chelik. Both of them were boyaretz. Boyaretz, why do they have to get from their grandparents? The one that says that they got for themselves is talking about where the people who were the boyaretz, the children of the meraglim, they were already 20 when they came into Eretz Yisrael. But the others were not. The Rashbam has a very clever, good kasha on this. When did the Maisa of the meraglim happen? It happened all the way back in the Adas Kaira. It happened all the way back in the beginning, 2 years after they left Mitzrayim. And they died. So they couldn't possibly have children that were less than 20 years old when they came into Eretz Yisrael. So he said they must be talking about the grandchildren. They had children who were over 20 and they died in the Midbar. And those children had children, and now they were getting on their own Yerusha. We We saw brought in the Brisa. I'm sorry, we had in the Mishnah. The Bnei Slavchon, excuse me, they got two chalakim because the Bachar gets two. Now the Gemara discusses what we discussed before. This is they shouldn't have been din Bachar gets shnayim because this was only a potential entitlement that Slavchon had, but he didn't actually get his Yerusha in Eretz Yisrael. It didn't belong to him. So how could it be something that has a din b'chayra? A b'chayra has no rights to get double on potential entitlements. It's not talking about the karka. When it says they got two chalakim, this is like really hitting home. It's talking about metaltalin. It's talking about the stakes that they used to hold down their tents. It's talking about regular metaltalin. So now when we said that in the Mishnah, that we said that they got two chalakim, it mamish wasn't talking about Eretz Yisrael at all. It was just talking about the actual Yerusha from their father, the metaltalin. Masav Rabba asked,
Потом сколько?
Rabbi Yehuda Aimer, B'nai Slavcha Natulu Gimel Chalakim. Then B'nai Slavcha got three chalakim. Mishnah Yifu Chavlei Menashe Asar. They got four, and it says V'yiflu Chavlei Menashe, the ropes which were used to measure the karka, that they got 10. So if we're talking about that you're measuring with a rope, it's not talking about metaltalin, it's talking about karka. So how could you answer that the way the Bnei Slavcha got it, even though it's beroi, is because we were talking about metaltalin, we weren't talking about the karka that they were getting in the Eretz Yisrael. Elama Rabba, no, you can't be talking about metaltalin. It's talking about that the Bnei Slavcha got karka in Eretz Yisrael. Eretz Yisrael muchzekasi. Like we said, been saying from the beginning, Eretz Yisrael, the rights to Eretz Yisrael is different. That's mamish. The Rebbe Shalom promised it. It was not roy. It was muhsa. Once the Rebbe Shalom says he's going to give something, you already have it. Meisvei Amar Rav Chidka Shimon HaKishmani Amar Chidka Shimon HaKishmani Vayli Chaver the Talmid of Akiva. Chidka said that Shimon HaShkmani was my friend, and he was one of the Talmidim of Akiva. But Kacha Shimon HaShkmani Yomer Yedei Moshe Rabbeinu Shibnoi Tzlafchad Yerusha saying Moshe Rabbeinu knew that they were entitled to get a Yerusha. They didn't know the din of Bechayra, like we just said. Imlav or not. And really, Moshe Rabbeinu could have. Why do we have this whole story that the Bnei Slavchad came and they asked the kasha, and then Moshe Rabbeinu went and asked, and then we now have the halacha of how Yerushas were. There's 613 mitzvahs. The other 612, Moshe Rabbeinu just wrote them down. There was no discussion that he didn't know it, and then it had to be asked. Why was it written? Why was the halacha given in this way? Because they were tzidkanis, because Bnei Slavchad were entitled to this, they got the schus, that they got it to be written for them. And what was their schus? The schus was that they wanted so badly to have karka in Eretz Yisrael. They had a special chiva for Eretz Yisrael, so therefore they got the schus that it should be asked as a question and written in their names. Another example we have in the Torah that the Moshe Rabbeinu didn't know what the halacha was, and Ki'ilu he went and asked what the halacha was by the Mekoshes, was someone who Mechal Shabbos, and Moshe Rabbeinu went to ask what's the din, and he was told, the Basham told him they get Misa. Shenem Mechalel Moshe Yumas, that they die. Havalohi Yedea Be'ezeh Misa Hu Yamas. Moshe Rabbeinu didn't know which Misa they should get. Really, it should have just been the Moshe Rabbeinu should have said, someone who's Mechal Shabbos gets Skila. It was written because of the Mekoshes, those who were Mechal Shabbos. That Bnei Slachad who were tzaddik, tzidkanias, they got the schus that the mitzvah was written in their name, and the Mekaishim, that the Navera, they had the din of Misa was written on their name. So affecting what? If you say that Eretz Yisrael, the din is that there's no Roy in Eretz Yisrael, and that's why it goes to a Bechar. My Kamistavkale. What was Moshe Rabbeinu that he didn't know the halacha? Was saying that the din is that it's Roy. That's not Roy. It has a din Muksuk. So there's no problem with it. They should get a double portion for their father's chelik of the Bechar. So what was Moshe Rabbeinu's suffer? So he gufa kamistavkale. This was his question. He wasn't sure if it has a din of Roy but Muksuk. Either could tell you that it's telling you that it's Yerusha Hilav Me'avesechem as a Meirasha, meaning that it's from your Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov that they had already been promised it, and therefore it doesn't have a din of Roy, but rather it's a din of Mochzik, or or maybe it's just that the people who left Eretz Yisrael, the Yotzei Mitzrayim, I'm sorry, that they will get the Yerusha, but they're not going to be able to get it themselves. They're going to have to give it over to their children. And that was Moshe Rabbeinu's question, which way the Yidashin? The Yidashin, like the first way, which tells you the din that it's considered Muchzik and not Roy. Do you say just a second, and all it's saying is that the Yotzei Mitzrayim themselves would not get the Yerusha, they would have to give it to their children. And the Rosh Hashanah was pasha to him both of these things, that we make both drushes. Both that it's Yerusha from Avram Yitzchak Yaakov, and therefore it has a din Muksuk. And also it has a din that they don't get themselves, but they give it to the children behind the Lusiv. It says, I will bring you, and I will plant it in the mountain of your Yerusha. It didn't say Tivienu, I will bring you. Ela Tivienu, you will bring them. That tells you that the Bnei Yisrael said Tivienu that we will bring them. You will bring them. The bunch will bring, but they themselves are not going to go. Okay, I think we're going to stop over here. We'll get to the a little bit more out of the story of the Bnei Slavchad. Okay, Shkoyach. I'm not sure what we're going to do about tomorrow. I'm planning on davening Vasikin.
Me too.
You're also going to?
Usually, yeah.
Do they have a Vasikin minion by Rabbi Twersky?
I'm not sure.
I'll check it up. If they do, maybe I'll go there. And probably not. I would guess he probably doesn't. But if he does, I'll go there, and then we could just learn whenever they're done. If not, I don't even know what time they're going to finish. I guess Vasikin is only like 7:10. It's probably not going to finish before 8:39.
The regular minion is 7 over there. That's
What?
they have a regular minion at 7.
Who does?
Retwersky.
But 2 days ago we didn't have a minion at 7.
Today I davened. I mean, we started late, but yeah, we got a minion. Yesterday there was a good minion.
You know what? I'll check the